As part of dark adaptation, the purkinjie effect, also known as the purkinjie shift, is a tendency for the eye's peak luminance sensitivity to shift toward the blue end of the color spectrum under low illumination levels. As a result, as light levels decrease, reds will appear darker in relative to other colors. While the effect is often described from the perspective of the human eye, it is well established in a number of animals by the same name to describe the general shifting of spectral sensitivity due to the pulling of rod and cone output signals as part of dark light adaptation. The effect was discovered in 1819 by Johann Evangelista Purkinje. Johann Evangelista Purkinje was a professor of physiology at the University of Prague from 1787 to 1869. He is recognized with numerous important scientific discoveries.
Purkinje was a polymath who would often meditate at dawn during long walks through the blooming Bohemian fields. As a young man, he made a simple observation and came to some interesting conclusions. When he looked at his favorite red flowers in low light, he noticed that they appeared significantly darker and compared to the surrounding levels that they would in normal daylight. This became known as the Purkinje effect, and he speculated that humans have two separate systems for seeing, one that is used in bright light and one that is used in low conditions. These systems are photopic. The cone-based and scotopic or the rod-based, the effect occurs because the outputs of cones in the retina, which are normally responsible for color perception in daylight, are pulled with outputs of rods, which are more sensitive under such conditions and have peak sensitivity in the blue-green wavelength of 5 ohms.
The rod cells, which number around 90 million in each retina, work at very low light levels but are unable to distinguish between different colors, which is why everything appears black and white in low light. They are most sensitive to the blue-green end of the spectrum. However, color vision is controlled by cone cells. Cone cells come in 3 different varieties, but they are all sensitive to yellow light. The Purkinje effect explains why at night we can only see the blues and greens that our rods can detect. As a result, red flowers, which contain a lot of yellow, appear to be very brilliant in normal daylight, as perceived the cones in the retina. The rods that are most sensitive to blue-green wavelengths perceive the surrounding leaves as brighter than the red blossom when exposed to the very low levels of light.
Another driving convention has the perceptual validity. Red light is less likely than other colors to affect our dark adaptation. Red tail lights from cars will be visible at night, but it will not affect the driver's dark adaptation, like other tail light colors would do. Another example is the digital cameras that in low light situations have the same effect. Digital cameras do not model human eyesight due to the presence of blue-green sensitive and red blind rod cells.
This also results in us becoming nearly colorblind under low levels of illumination. As the light dims, the rods take over from the cones, and before color disappears entirely, our color perception shifts toward the blue-green spectrum. The Purkinje effect has an interesting practical implication. As the darkness falls, longer wavelengths, or red, of light will appear darker, while shorter wavelengths, or blue, will appear relatively brighter. This indicates that red objects with a similar reflectance value are more difficult to see at night than blue or green things. It is for this reason that fire departments began to move away from the traditional red cars. Fast-moving red fire vehicle will be more difficult to other drivers to notice than fast-moving blue fire trucks, since red is harder to see at night.